I've always been the type to chase stories that no one else wants to touch. That's how I ended up here, or at least how I ended up telling you this. My name's Alex Reed, and until a few months ago, I was just another washed-up journalist scraping by on freelance gigs. I'd blown my career years back exposing a corporate scandal that turned out to be bigger than I could handle. People got hurt and I got blacklisted. So when a cryptic email landed in my inbox offering a unique opportunity with a government agency, I jumped at it. They called it an interviewer position at Blackthorn Containment Facility. Sounded like a cushy desk job, right? Digging into classified files, talking to inmates about their crimes. I had no idea what I was walking into. Blackthorn isn't like any prison you've heard of. It's buried deep under the outskirts of Daggerlin, Ohio, that sleepy little town you've probably seen in the news for all the wrong reasons. Disappearances, strange lights in the sky, folks whispering about things that go bump in the night. The facility itself is a maze of cold concrete corridors, lit by buzzing fluorescents that never quite chase away the shadows. The air down there is thick, like breathing through wet cloth, with this metallic bite that clings to your tongue. And the sounds? God, the sounds. Low growls from behind reinforced doors, scratches like nails on chalkboard, and sometimes, laughter that doesn't sound human at all. They blindfolded me for the drive-in, standard protocol, they said. When the hood came off, I was in a sterile briefing room with a guy named Warden Hale. He was built like a tank, scars crisscrossing his arms like he'd wrestled bears, or worse. "Reed," he grunted, sliding a thick folder across the table. "Your job is simple. Interview the inmates, extract information. But follow the rules or you won't make it out." He rattled them off like they were gospel. Rule 1. Never speak to the hollow without a warden present. Rule 2. Do not make eye contact with its cell's viewing window. Rule 3. If you hear your own voice calling your name, do not answer. Rule 4. Never mention your fears aloud in the facility. I chuckled at first, thinking it was some hazing ritual. Inmates? Sure. But monsters? Come on. Hale didn't laugh. These aren't people, Reed. They're things we pulled from the dark places of the world. Skinwalkers from the Appalachians, Wendigos that crossed over during those Daggerlin blackouts back in the 50s. And the hollow, that's the one you stay away from. He tapped the folder. Start with the minors. Build your tolerance. My first few weeks were unsettling but manageable. The inmates were kept in cells warded with symbols I didn't recognize, runes etched into the steel, humming with some kind of energy. I interviewed a thing that looked like a twisted deer, its antlers dripping ichor. It whispered about forests that eat people, places tied to Daggerlin's old logging camps where workers vanished without a trace. Then there was the siren, a pale woman with scales under her skin, who sang about luring sailors to their doom. She mentioned the hollow too, her voice dropping to a hiss. It's older than the earth, scribe. It unravels minds like thread. Each interview chipped away at my skepticism. The facility felt alive, almost. Lights would flicker when an inmate got agitated, and I'd swear I saw shadows moving independently in the corners. But the Hollows file kept drawing me back. It was in the deepest level, level 7, accessible only by a rattling elevator that groaned like it was in pain. The file was mostly blacked out, but what I could read chilled me. Captured in 1958 after a ritual in Daggerlin's abandoned mines. No physical form. Communicates psychically. Containment requires constant fear suppression. I started hearing things at night in my bunk. Whispers that sounded like my ex-wife's voice or my old editor's. Rule 3 kept echoing in my head. Don't answer. But curiosity is a bitch, especially for someone like me. One evening, after Hale left for the surface, I swiped his access card. Told myself it was for the story, the big one that could redeem me. The elevator descent felt eternal, the air growing colder, thicker. When the doors opened on level 7, it was pitch black except for a single red light pulsing over a reinforced door. The viewing window was frosted over, but I could feel something watching. I shouldn't have gone in. The interview chamber was a small room with a table bolted to the floor, separated by a glass wall etched with those runes. On the other side, nothing. Just a void like staring into an abyss. I sat down, flipped on the recorder. This is Alex Reed, interviewing inmate 01, designation, the Hollow. Silence at first. Then a voice, not from speakers but inside my skull. It was my voice but twisted, echoing with layers of others. Alex, you've come home. I froze. Rule 1 broken. But I couldn't stop. What are you? I asked, my mouth dry. It laughed, a sound like glass shattering in slow motion. I am the empty space between stars. The fear you bury. Tell me, Alex, do you still dream of the fire? The one that took your sister. My blood ran cold. No one knew about that. Not the agency, not even my therapist. It was a childhood accident I'd buried deep. How do you? I know because you bring it with you. Like all the others. The warden fears the dark because his father locked him in closets. The deer thing fears fire because it burned its forest. Fear is my key, Alex. And you've just turned it. The lights dimmed. Alarms blared somewhere above, malfunctioning they said later, but I knew better. The hollow's presence swelled, the glass wall vibrating. Shadows peeled from the corners, forming shapes. Twisted figures, faces I recognized from old news clippings about Daggerlin disappearances. I bolted for the door, but it sealed shut. Rule 2, I glanced at the window. Stupid. Panic set in as the elevator wouldn't respond. I ran through the corridors, hearing doors hiss open behind me. Inmates were stirring. The skinwalker howled, its cell buckling. Free. The hollow frees us. Guard screams echoed from the upper levels, hallucinations, they were seeing their worst nightmares. One guard clawed at his eyes, babbling about spiders under his skin. I found a hidden control room, wedged behind a maintenance panel. Inside, an old logbook, dusty and forgotten. Entries from the 50s. Facility established to contain anomalies from the Daggerlin rift. The hollow is the anchor, feeds on ambient fear to power the wards. Do not engage, it grows stronger. It wasn't a prisoner. It was the battery siphoning terror to keep the others locked. And I just supercharged it by spilling my guts. The hollow's voice pursued me. Join us, Alex. No more hiding. I could feel it probing my mind, dredging up memories. The fire, the screams, my guilt for not saving her. I slammed the logbook shut, spotting an emergency shutdown lever. Purge core containment, releases all but seals the rift. Suicide mission. I raced back to level 7, the facility crumbling around me. Inmates roamed free now, a Wendigo loping down the hall, its breath frosting the air, a shadowy blob that absorbed light. I dodged them, heart pounding, until I reached the chamber. The glass was cracked, the hollow spilling out like ink in water. Why fight? It cooed. I can give you peace. Forget the fire. Or, bring her back. Tempting. God, so tempting. But I saw the trick. Rule 4. I'd mentioned my fear aloud in the interview. Was using it. With shaking hands, I yanked the lever. The runes flared, a blinding light. The hollow shrieked, collapsing inward, pulling the escaped monsters with it like a black hole. I blacked out. Woke up on the surface, Hale dragging me out. You idiot, he growled. We contained it, barely. But it's not gone. Just quieter. They fired me, of course. Covered it up as a gas leak. But I know the truth. The hollow's still down there waiting. And sometimes at night I hear my voice calling from the shadows. I don't answer. But one day I might. If you're ever in Daggerlin and hear whispers about Blackthorn, stay away. Some stories aren't meant to be chased. And some monsters, they know you better than you know yourself.